SVG's Jason Dackman here, another episode of SVG Sports Tech on Demand, and I am joined by Dan Maloney, Technical Marketing Manager at Matrox. Dan, first and foremost, is everyone healthy and safe at your household, and where are you calling us from today?
So we're based Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Quebec, in particular, has, although we're not hit as hard as the United States, Quebec is a hot spot in Canada. But both my family and Matrox, we haven't been touched, and Matrox is still fully operational in that must be 80% of us working from home, but there's still manufacturing going on, simply because we also have been designated an essential service. A lot of our products are found in medical products and a variety of other video that's very useful in today's remote remote. Speaking of remote, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, today working remotely, that's video is very important for that.
That's great to hear. That's really great to hear that you guys are still up and running. So, obviously NAB is not taking place physically in Vegas this year, but I'm sure that you guys still have a nice row of announcements and some new product enhancements. So give us an idea of what you guys would have promoted at NAB and what you want to share with the community.
Sure. So years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, we introduced our first web streaming, encoding appliances. So we've been, and those have seen a lot of interest, of course, in the last few weeks as well. Just basically reaching your communities wherever they were. They weren't necessarily geared toward sports, although a lot of sporting through schools migrated to webcasting as a way to get content out. So we're still showing a lineup of webcasting equipment. We were going to be showing some KVM workflows, which is another interesting technology that could be used for remote applications, where you can have workstations back in your home office, but be working from home and still accessing very high quality video content. But probably our biggest focus for a broadcast show would have been our Monarch Edge encoders and decoders. This at NAB we'll be launching. We're actually going to be shipping our first set of software for the Edge decoder, and with the Edge decoder comes remote production workflows. So we're really going to focus a lot of our trade show to remote production workflows. Very interesting for remote sports production.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into that, because obviously we know where the world is headed with social distancing and quarantining. Even after we come out of this, it's going to be a very different world. But tell me about the Monarch Edge product a little bit more, and how that can play into a live production ecosystem that wants to move to a more remote-based operation. Sure.
So we designed the Monarch Edge from the ground up, really focusing on remote production. What's important for remote production is to have higher channel densities. You have to be able to stream more than one camera. So our Edge has 4 SDI inputs. In fact, you can gang multiple edges together so that all those inputs could be available for streaming. And by ganging, in addition to having multiple inputs, you need to make sure those are streamed in a synchronous fashion. You have to be able to, on the back end, resynchronize all those feeds. So it really just looks like it's SDI being transported across an IP network. So our Edge product has SDI encoding, or encoding from SDI inputs, 422 10-bit capability, so broadcast quality encoding, synchronization, of course, low latency. That's the last important point, is to ensure we're encoding that at the very lowest latency possible, so that the directors back in remote studio could be communicating to the cameramen and be able to make decisions, and the reaction will be instantaneous. So we're targeting a sub 100 millisecond glass to glass transport between SDI input and SDI output on the decode side. Genlock components on both the encoder. We can output Genlock signals to Genlock cameras in the field. We can take in a Genlock signal on the decoder to ensure that the outputs can be synchronized with other feeds that are in the studio. We have a couple of other bells and whistles that we would love to demo at the show, relating to tally signals coming from the switcher, making sure those get all the way back to the encoder so that it can signal the cameras who's on air, who's in preview, and then even an independent talkback channel. So to be able to interface with the party line inputs of intercom systems, that whether they be in both in studio and out in the field,
Right.
just taking the auxiliary inputs and outputs of those intercom systems and be able to offer an IP link between the encoders and decoders really just goes we went like that extra mile to make sure the the edge units were very well suited for remote production needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, remote production solutions are going to be very much in demand when we do come back on the other end of this. So there are no sports right now, but obviously they are going to return. And when they do, there's probably going to be less people on the compound, less people in the truck. There'll be more social distancing measures, which is going to require some of these remote production type tools. So how do you see Matrox and tools like Monarch Edge playing into that new ecosystem that hopefully we'll have in a few months?
We always felt that one of the best ways to get audience engagement, not everybody can attend live, but being able to offer affordable broadcast or over the top delivery of your sporting event was a great way to have fans engage with their favorite teams. So not everybody could afford an OB van. So even despite the fact that OB vans are tight, and very shortly we think remote production solves part of that problem. OB vans will be back, but they're still expensive.
Right.
So being able to offer secondary sports the ability to get their message out, particularly if they can't get the people in the stands, is a great way to help bring people back together and really get your brand out. We're very excited to be helping in this place. We want to be able to collaborate with our teams that are our sports teams, whether they be from universities, or pro sports, or even just small municipal teams that have something to show and a fan base to target. Remote production would be a good way to potentially do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a brave new world, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think remote production will, of course, be on the rise. So, Dan, thanks so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate you joining us. And please stay safe and stay healthy.
You too. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. For more episodes of SVG Sports Tech on Demand, stay tuned to sportsvideo.org and the SVG YouTube channel.